Hey guys, this is just a introduction to the next few videos that I'm gonna be doing. But I'd like to say a quick prayer, and then I'll get into why. Um, so anyway, Father, I ask you that the information that I'm trying to deliver, that you allow the Holy Spirit to work through me and be able to use the right words and not worry about how to edit or what to make something look like, but say exactly what I need to say, that it gets to those that you need it to get to. And regardless of anything that comes up in my life that may be a shortcoming on my part, I ask that the information that I'm trying to deliver get to all of your elect, all of your children, all of the people that need to see it. Regardless if the video goes down, whatever, that it get the information get to those that need to see it. I thank you, Father. Hallelujah. All right, so I was just gonna make an introduction. It was gonna be a three-part video about spiritual warfare, about how we're blind to some of the way that they communicate with each other. We see videos on stuff all the time, like symbolism, but what I meant in the video that I was stressed out about, and I'm still kind of stressed, and the world seems to be trying to, it's like started doing the gang stalking thing again with like the intimidation stuff, which is kind of weird. Which fear doesn't come from the Lord, and I'm not going to let it stop me, and that's why I needed to say that prayer that way, because even if something were to happen to me, I just pray that the information gets to all those that it needs to. But I'd finally got enough evidence that I think I can prove that the spiritual warfare is going on in front of us, like from the physical people. There's plenty of people out there in different testimonies. Regato Bonner did a stream the other night, and I agree with what he says. I've experienced some of those same things that he talks about. Like, he is on point. I don't care if he sounds crazy to anybody else. Like, he's probably the closest to seeing it for what it really is, for just right in front of you. But this is for everyone else. I was going to make one video, which I probably will, talking about the poetry of the enemy. What I meant in the other video about how whenever you have a secret and you just need to tell someone, well, this is like their way of talking to each other, and us just singing along and bobbing our head and buying tickets to a concerts when they're talking about killing the children of God. And I see it over and over in different ways. It's very poetic how it's done. It's very creative, but music speaks to me. Whenever I listen to songs, I see stuff. It's like God allows me to hear it and see what they wrote it for. And if you're having trouble following me, again, I'll do a video on it. But go listen to don't listen to it. Look up the lyrics to "The Beautiful People" by Marilyn Manson. Who do you think he's talking about? There's a time to discriminate against every mother effer that's in your way, and he's singing about I don't want to call us the elect, but the children of God. There's something that these people get for leading us into our own destruction of our making, like our acceptance of sin, and that destroying us. That we say that gives the devil ground to operate in our life, but it's not just like he comes to steal, kill, and destroy. So, like the other day, out of the blue, someone asked me if I would like to do a photo shoot for Playboy, because I was talking about like modeling before and some of the stuff that I'd done. I never shared that because I don't want anybody to lust. It was all muscle shirt. It was about tattoos, but anyway, when I was living for self, I did stuff like that, but it wasn't like blatantly like and I didn't even, the way that they asked it, I thought they were asking me to meet a model, like to speak with another model. I didn't realize that they were actually prompting me to work for the like Playgirl. And I really think that was just something spiritual where they were trying to see if I would even be willing to, maybe. But that really happened, and it kind of happened over my head where I didn't understand what was really being asked of me. Just weird, right? Way out here in the middle of the sticks, and someone goes, "Hey," and the way, anyway. But back to the music, it's written all over the place. I'll do a much more detailed video about it. I'm really making this introduction. It was going to be more planned, and like, this is an intro. I was going to say a prayer over it because it does need to get everyone that it needs to. But the whole gang stalking thing again, and I'm like, it's just the way people are driving up and just watching me at the house and just like kind of smiling and laughing. It's probably just an intimidation tactic, which I don't really care about, but there was something I heard a few months back before I ever moved into this place about just an attempt to be made on my life and then them burning the place down. And I'm not speaking that into existence, but I don't know. The other day I asked for prayer so I could get all this set out, and then things have gotten really, really aggressive around me. So the main thing that I want to get out, and I will, is not only are there, we may all, probably agree that there's some people that are into some satanic stuff. They're working directly for the enemy, and they know it. But I believe that there are people that can see through to the other side. And they take orders from these demons. Like, they can see them clear as day. I've seen hundreds of examples of, you can just tell when somebody is receiving information. And maybe that'll become more clearly in that other video. But the point that I'm trying to get across is there's people talking to stuff that aren't there. I'll give more detailed examples in that. But the main thing that I do want to get across, and I was going to put this in that video, was that a week before I started, or the week after I started my job, I put out some false information. Now, when I say I put it out, I didn't put it out over the phone. I did not lie. What I did was, I was in my room at the house that I was living at the time with family, and while they were all sleeping, and just no one was around, my room, the windows are covered and all that, and the house is really high, so the windows are like at 7 foot off the ground, and it's the small windows. I acted out and put some false information into the room. It took about 5 hours to make it actually believable, and about a week later, I got a message from someone who I had never spoken to before. And some of the things that this person said in the message, it sounds like rambling jargon, but I'll read it to you real quick. Wasn't even on my channel. Landon Pets. LOL, that's funny. I've only met 2 females that could make a man's head spin like that to get a complete glimpse, and it was completely due to her personality. If you just look at her without knowing her, your head may spin further than normal, but it's to get her out of your field of vision. Babe, a person's positive or negative emotions shoot through every once in a while is just wild to me. It happens all the time, and being the type to utilize every opportunity, and at the very least, worst case, planting a seed or making an impression one way or another. But yeah, there's one chick I have ever met that makes my head spin. Assuming by your name you're a guy, I imagine you walk around naked a lot and turn heads. Are you dressed like a poor person or someone that makes poor financial decisions in order to portray themselves exactly as the media wants? It's sad, but that also makes my head spin and it isn't good right now since I'm driving right now. Well, I'm not on the Broad. I pulled over to type this, plus I'm still feeling last night. Look, it goes on and on and on. The point is, you can read it if you want to on Once Upon a Timeline's Headspin video. Anyway, at the very end, to wrap this up, I said, new encounter, kind of hard to follow you there, lol, but please stop imagining me walking around naked. Look, that thing goes on and on and on and on. You're welcome to read it if you want to. And I know that that's just weird. So the things there's other stuff in there how they were talking about. There's other stuff in there how they were talking about like a credit card not going through and other stuff that went on during the night before. As I said, I did things so blatantly just sloppy. Basically, there's a script that the enemy keeps following and keeps going back to, and then keeps trying to throw it in my face, and that's what this person was trying to do. And as I was under all this oppression during this time, I said, you know what? We're going to go through with your script, but we're going to make sure that I'm completely alone, that there's no one around, there's no one around that would be able to say that they were a witness to it. It was completely impossible. And I really don't feel like getting into the details of it. It's not anything that I'm ashamed of, but it's not anything that you wouldn't understand if I explained it. You would think that I was insane. Or a genius. Or insane. And over the course of this 5 hours, as I'm walking around and I'm talking to myself, just going through my room, I'm animating and narrating this topic, and this person just kept hitting on all this different stuff, and then about going to Walmart and the credit cards with PayPal and all this other stuff. There's no way that a person I've never spoken to would have tapped on all that stuff. And then the very next evening, get on YouTube as I normally do, hop in a chat. I'm silent, but I'm listening to what the program, the person it's being run by, what they're talking about, and I'm watching the chat, and then I see individuals, specific, not everyone, I'm not insane, certain individuals that switched just in the middle, not like began talking about something else. Like they started saying stuff that it's not that it was a coincidence. Like it didn't even make sense. I made sure to go back and analyze and understand, like, is there any way possible that these individuals could have been talking about, it's like their conversation didn't continue. It stopped, and then they were like mid-conversation and doing the same thing. And so, I don't know if people can believe it and understand it, but if churches are infiltrated, if our government's infiltrated, if families and homes and work and everywhere is infiltrated, why wouldn't certain groups on YouTube be infiltrated? Not certain ones, every one of them. And it's not my job to point them out. Again, fight it with love, but there's something that I did. I said, okay, I'm going to test this, Father. I was under a lot of oppression. Something just trying to throw stuff back into my face. And I said, you know what? Fine. Let's go with I already know what they're going to do, so why not just, let them think that that's what's going on. And sure enough, they started messaging me, and then started talking about it in front of me, like to throw it in my face that it was something that I was going to be like, saddened by or something. But now, regardless of whatever, I'm not going to go through and break down every single thing that the person talks about. But clearly it is impossible for someone who's never spoken to me before, who I wasn't actually on my phone like saying these things to other people, that someone goes out of their way week or two later, maybe a few days later, I think, to write me a long message that just sounds like it's just like jargon, just whatever. It's impossible. So the point that I'm trying to get at with that example, there's weird stuff in it. Some of it doesn't make any sense to me, and other parts they're talking directly to me about things that were going on, at the time that would have. I don't know what they call that in the gang stalking world, but it's like they'll say, words that have a double meaning, and what I'm trying to get at, without rambling on, is that these people can somehow see into the room. Like, they can't necessarily like reach out and touch you, but it's like they can receive information. And I think Wi-Fi has a lot more to do. It has a lot more capabilities than we know. And I know that maybe not all this makes sense, but I just hope that it becomes more and more apparent. The main thing I wanted to get across, and I truly believe that I can prove it, is that there are people in our lives that are actively working for destruction. They may not always use fear as a tactic, but they're working for our destruction, and they reap some sort of benefit or reward from it. That is the main thing. But the other thing is that some of these entities that they either take orders from, or they're told, what to do or how to do it, they can see them, like as if they're standing in the room next to us, and they, it's just like they're there. It's nothing even, I just know this to be true, and I know that's a pretty profound couple claims, but hopefully I will be able to make these videos and really explain what I'm talking about. This is the most important information about spiritual warfare, because it will give you a picture into the perception and the lives of those working iniquity in our lives and how it works, and that's why it's so important. I do believe that I'm going to try and do it where it's just a discussion, maybe from myself and another YouTuber, maybe Regato, maybe there's a few other people I think that I think just it would be better with a dialogue than me just making a narrated video. But I know this to be true, and I just wanted to share it so that just in case anything, I really don't believe any of that. I believe that I'm protected by the grace of God, and I have nothing to fear because my Father is with me. But it's sort of like a just in case thing where you got extra food, extra water in your house just in case, but it's not even hurricane season. You know what I mean? And it's really important, because if you start listening to the music in the sense of they've been talking about us the whole time, they've been singing about this, what is it, Aerosmith, Dream On, half my life's in books, written pages, living, learning from fools and from sages, the people working the magic. Like, this has been good. I mean, it's just what they see. They talk about it like it's common knowledge, but they have to disguise it because they get in trouble whenever we figure it out. And so I figured explain to you the way that they do it with entertainment, and then tell you how I know that I've seen people talking over and over and over and over and over to other things and have hidden access to hidden information. I work for these people. You can't run from it. It's like it says in the book of Revelation. It's over the entire world. You can't go anywhere and get away from it. You'd still have to go shopping. They're purposefully, staying within. There are people that I do business with. There are people that I work for. There are people in my family that have all shown. They've shown me that that's what they are. I went to get a daiquiri the other day. It was a nice day. The day that I went to Hobby Lobby and got all my colors for the day I went to Hobby Lobby to get my colors. My landlord brought me. She's a very, very nice person. I love her to death. But I've never spoken to her about Madeline. Never said a word about Madeline. And I've told her to check out the videos on my YouTube channel. but I don't believe that she has, and she sure hasn't had enough time to watch them all. And we pull up to the daiquiri shop, and there's this little petite, beautiful, I mean, absolutely, beautiful young lady in there who looked a lot, not exactly, but a lot like Madeline did whenever I saw her in 2016 when we bumped into each other. And never speaking about, as a matter of fact, I was talking to my landlord about, there was a girl down the street, and I was like, man, she's pretty. I've never seen her before. And so she sees this girl. She looks at her and she goes, is that her? And I said, is that her what? And she went, and stayed just silent. Now, sure, you could rationalize it and say that, yeah, she watched the video, but I don't know why she wouldn't have just said it right then and there, and then grew silent and didn't know what to say. And then for the rest of our conversations, she was kind of like tuned out because she was paying attention to something else. And this is not about her. I'm not judging. Look, you have to fight this thing with love. Absolutely. That's the only way to defeat it, is to pray for those who are trying to work against you, and those that are under the control of some of these things, because a lot of times they don't want to be. This is not about me bashing her. She's a very lovely person. I mean, I love her. She's a very motherly figure to me. But the point is that, I mean, I clearly saw it before then, but that's the best example that I could give you, I knew when I first got the job that I was at, that the people that I was working for have some of these same abilities to see into something that we don't. And but there's strict rules they have to follow, and I do pray for them. That I just don't think that there's a trade-off to, okay, you got a nice car, you got a nice house, but it's like you have to follow orders, and it doesn't even matter if it's someone you love. They have to be sacrificed, like they do it because they're terrified of the consequences. So look, that's just two examples, but it goes on and on and on and on and on and on, and I know this to be true. There are people in our lives that work iniquity, that's normal, but there are people that see other things that we don't, and all this stuff is right in front of us, but we've been dumbed down in a way that we don't even see it. So that's just the introduction. One last thing while I'm editing this now. Look, I know the Bible says even a fool appears wise when he keeps his mouth shut. And I'm not in fear as to whether or not, this video is to my undoing, but the point is that if you get lost in what the content's about, I read out some of it. I'm not saying that that's what all of this had to do with. It goes on and on and on and on and on. But what I'm saying is that I was under all sorts of different oppressive stuff. And like, the reason I started my channel, because I was sick of the gang stalking stuff, and I was sick of the way that I was being treated by others and all this and that. And it doesn't matter if I go to a mall in Illinois somewhere, like there's going to be people there that have all the information that they need to know what they need to know about me, and that's the way that it really is. And so when I got a new job the very first weekend, when it was my time to shine, and I was getting attacked in all sorts of ways, that was close to the time I made that video when I'm in my sweater and I'm like, please, I need prayer. I didn't want to walk outside of my house until I made that video. That's how important it was. But I was getting all this oppressive stuff. And I'm talking to God about it, and he's like, and so I made it look as if they were winning. I just made it look as if all this stuff was taking form and taking shape. What I did not expect was people in the YouTube community to talk about some of that same stuff when I randomly hopped on a YouTube chat. What I did not expect was a comment from someone who I'd never spoken to before and don't recognize their voice because they have one video about a Bible change on Once Upon a Timeline's channel, who I'd rarely comment on. And it's far more important for me to get this information out there to those that know that there's something wrong, but they don't know what it is exactly, than to say, well, God, I have to keep this information to myself. It's not only, just spirit seeing everything that you do. And if it is, then fine, that's it. But they're giving, they're painting a clear picture to people in your life. And I go back to when in the book of Job, they asked, the devil where he was, and he said, to and fro, up and down, and in the earth. And I think he moves through people too. I mean, people that I talk to and develop relationships with, and they seem to be doing some of the same things as some of those oppressive people, like the relationship with my parent that is no longer, and that's more important than for me to covet the information and not give it out there. Anyway, I know it's a really weird video. If the definition of sin is to miss the mark, then please don't miss the mark and go, I can't believe he made that video, because the way that he portrayed it and edited it, it looks like it's of, some sexual nature or something. The point is that there are people in our lives that see everything, and they're using demons and demonic spirits and principalities to try and oppress us. And then they'll throw it in your face in a way that you can't, prove that. But that's not you in the first place. So, anyway, if you get caught up in what the content of that is, then you really just don't even need to be watching the videos that I'm making. But this is a real thing, and we talk to these people all the time. And you really just need to hold every thought captive and spend time with God, so that He will reveal to you the way that these spirits, these principalities, and these people are trying to work iniquity in your life. And that's what I was trying to do when all that was going on. God bless. Have a good day.